doing?
CT, what's going on? How about those Knicks? 4 wins in a row, playing good D, Tom Thibodeau basketball.
What do you think has been the catalyst for this run?
So to me, the problem was the amount of threes attempted the Knicks were giving up and the amount of threes made that they were giving up. The percentage was not the issue. The volume of 3 attempts given up and the volume of threes made given up. And what you have now is Deuce McBride and Quentin Grimes in particular, A, are great at closing out, and B, do not get beaten off the dribble. And when they don't get beaten off the dribble, it means the defense doesn't have to keep chasing open men, open players. And I think that's really important. So Derrick Rose obviously has had a great career. Cam Reddish has his attributes. But when those two guys are out there and they get beaten off the dribble, it creates a defense that's in chaos. And that is not happening now with McBride getting the minutes and Grimes playing so well on defense.
Deuce McBride, he had his moments in preseason, but it's just been incredible, the intensity that they're playing with, and they're in like a top 10 defense built over the last 4 games.
You know, you got McBride who's playing for he's not highly touted. These guys are playing for stability, playing for their spot in the league. Cam Reddish is also playing for his spot in the league, but he doesn't seem as motivated. Fournier's got his money. Derrick Rose is on the tail end. So I think one of the factors here is the motivation of Grimes and McBride to make their stamp on the NBA. Now, Grimes, what's also CT's impressed me about Grimes is his ability to pass the ball off dribble penetration has been really interesting and effective. A couple of games ago, he did really well from 3. But these guys, Grimes and McBride, impact the game even when they don't score. I mean, McBride barely scores, but he comes in there and his defense really is a huge factor.
Yeah, you mentioned scoring wasn't really the issue with this team. It was clamping people down and just not giving up those 3 balls, effort, energy. And you could say, Bill, the team has an identity now. I felt it lacked an identity in the first 18 games. Now, you mentioned the Tom Thibodeau, identity, basically this team, defense. How sustainable do you feel this is with a 9-man rotation?
Well, a couple things now. They're getting lucky. They're playing these other teams when the other team stars are out. It's uncanny. You go all the way back to Philly without Joel Embiid. Denver didn't have Nikola Jokic. Cleveland didn't have Jared Allen, and then Atlanta comes in and DeJounte Murray gets hurt after they're already missing 2 starters, and Sacramento comes in and there's no De'Aaron Fox. So that's one thing, but I just think the defense is, Charlotte didn't have LaMelo Ball or Gordon Hayward, but I just think the defense is something that can sustain itself going forward here. Because, if you defend it, it's something you can control. It's effort-based. Last 4 games, they've only given up 100 points once, and that was 102. That's how good it's been. It's such a startling reversal. Startling how they reversed this. And if they defend like this, who knows where they could be headed. Now, Brunson's hopefully not going to be out. I don't know what the status is for him in Chicago on Wednesday, but hopefully he's good to go, or at least won't be out that long.
Yeah, hopefully it's just sprain, nothing serious. You mentioned this crazy run. The Knicks are now tied. We're in 6th place. Philadelphia above them in 5th place today. With a Philadelphia loss, the Knicks will go tied 5th. How's that for a run our last 2 years ago?
We were talking on the air about the parity in the East. Everybody's talking about how the East had gotten better. Well, maybe it's gotten better, but teams like Chicago have gotten worse. Atlanta's going through some problems. Miami hasn't been great. Charlotte is not what they were supposed to be. Bottom line is the parity, to me, means that, maybe they could finish in the top 6. Obviously, our attitude changes day by day. We record this as they've won 4 in a row, and if they lose 3 in a row, our whole attitude is going to change. But the parity, I think, means that a lot of things are possible here.
Yep. We talk about the development of the young players now. Jericho Sims gets in this rotation now with Obi Toppin out. Well, so most of this rotation, Bill, is a squad full of players in the draft, and that's what has me most excited.
Yeah, Jericho's a good fit because, if Obi comes in there, sometimes he's not great with the ball. Sometimes he's not great on defense. Sims may not score the points, but he again fits in line with the McBrides and the Grimes because he hustles, defends, and rebounds. If you got Randall doing what he's doing and RJ playing really well over the last 10 games and a healthy Brunson, maybe you don't need other guys to score. You need these other guys to do a lot of the dirty work. Mitchell Robinson's been great on the boards, defending the rim. So, maybe they found something here.
Yeah. A big catalyst off the bench in Derrick Rose's absence has been IQ. What have you seen from IQ this season?
IQ has been really good on defense. His outside shooting has been alarmingly inconsistent. I think sometimes he pulls up in bad scenarios and takes longer threes than necessary. He has been very effective, though, going to the basket, and his defense, most importantly, has been really good. He's been effective off the bench, there's no question. He's been good, even when he hasn't been shooting well.
There's been some talks now that the Knicks are obviously looking at trade scenarios.
I would hate for them to have to attach a number 1 draft pick to move some of these guys. We don't need that to happen. But if Fournier, Rose, and Reddish look like they're out of the mix. So whatever they get back is a bonus. I would not trade Quickly. Quickly's too valuable a piece. So, if you can move Fournier and Reddish and get a draft pick back, that might not be a bad thing to do. I might want to try to hold on to Rose because, as you see here, if Brunson's going to be out, you got to have Derrick Rose.
Yeah, that's going to be important. And Julius Randle's played recently on an absolute tear. Just how much has Jalen Brunson made this starting unit better this season?
Well, it's helpful for Randle because he doesn't have to handle the ball, doesn't have to dominate the ball, doesn't have to have the offense go through him. He can receive the ball and do some things with it, maybe in space where he's ready to shoot. I think it's made all the difference in the world. Randle's gotten off to great starts here in the first quarters of these recent games. That's been a huge plus. And I just think with Brunson handling the ball, it changes the whole dynamic for Randle.
And we see this stretch coming up, Bill. A weird, away, home and home, Chicago, Indiana, Golden State, Toronto, and Chicago again. What do you see in these next 6 games?
Chicago's a mess. We got a lot of injuries. They have the injury to Lonzo Ball. Zach LaVine is back, but he's been in and out with a bad knee. Yeah, DeMar DeRozan is the one you got to worry about. He always seems to kill the Knicks. At Chicago, at Indiana. I mean, you got over the next 5, you go, 3-2. Then you're 2 games over 500. That wouldn't be bad. That wouldn't be bad. Toronto's not been great. So you got the Warriors coming to town. They've been terrible on the road. Hey man, you're getting us in a good mood, CT. All things possible. How about 5-0 over the next 5? Make it a 9-game winning streak.
Go one better than 2 years ago.
Yeah, the one thing about that year is that they got it rolling late. Remember, they were finished, I think, 16-4. So we'll see how that goes. It's a good comparison, Grimes to Bullock. Elfrid Payton became a real problem later in that season, but was really good on defense as a starter. So that's not a bad comparison. I think we'll take a first-round playoff berth. I think we'll take 4th overall in the East.
Yeah, absolutely. With Brunson, he's this impact player that we didn't have, obviously, 2 years ago. And I'm just shocked, around the East. Atlanta's struggling now. Toronto, not as good as we thought. Miami, not as good as we thought. What surprised you the most?
I think Miami. I forgot to mention them when I was going over the teams. Injuries. You know what the thing is, CT? The injuries, we talked about it at work the other night. Every night there are major players out. Every night for every team. Now, the Knicks have avoided that until now. Randall, Barrett, Brunson have been there every single night. And I want to make a point here about Randall. You can say whatever you want about him. He plays every night. Plays every single night. And hopefully Brunson won't be out too long. I don't know. Maybe he won't be out at all.
You made a great point. And coming from that All-Star burst, maybe a 2-time All-Star burst for this team, ran more runs. And how does that sound?
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't bet the house on that, but it would be great.
Yeah. Well, as always, Bill, it's been awesome catching up. And stay well. And let's catch up for the trade period.
Happy holidays. Always great to be with you, my man.
Yep.
Talk to you soon, okay?
Yep. See you soon.